Some of the foreign competing teams pay homage to the German Führer. When an American Negro, Jesse Owens, wins 3 gold medals, Hitler refuses to shake hands with him. As the world watches sport, General Franco, a new would-be dictator on the European scene, leads a revolt against the Spanish Republican government. Britain, France, and the United States adopt what they call a policy of non-intervention in Spain. Hitler and Mussolini announce a similar policy and promptly send troops, experts, airmen, and equipment to help Franco's army. For the German High Command and war technicians, this is a golden opportunity to experience war in its actuality, a rehearsal for what is to come, especially in aerial warfare. The wholesale rain of death dropped by German planes on the small and undefended town of Guernica shocks the outside world. Helped by the Russians at a price and by volunteers from many countries, the Spanish government holds out for 3 years. The specially formed Condor Legion of the German Luftwaffe returns in triumph to Berlin. Ceremonial homage is paid to the Germans killed in Spain. In 1937, the Führer welcomes Mussolini, his fellow dictator from Italy, to the Third Reich. Il Duce is to be impressed with the ever-growing might of Nazi Germany. At a vast meeting in Berlin, Mussolini thanks Germany for her help in his brutal Abyssinian war.
Nicht angeschlossen. Wir werden das niemals vergessen.
And the Führer replies,
Dieser Völkerkundgebung aber ist der aufrichtige Wunsch, unseren Ländern jenen Frieden zu garantieren.
Peace, did Hitler say? In Austria, Hitler's homeland, another little dictator, Dollfuss, has already set himself up. He has smashed the workers' organizations, but only to open up the way for the Austrian Nazis. Dollfuss is murdered. When Schuschnigg, the new prime minister, tries to save what he can by a general vote of the people, Hitler gives orders for his army to march.
I intend to invade Austria with armed forces in order to establish constitutional conditions and to prevent further outrages against the pro-German population. I will direct the whole operation myself.
Only 3 years earlier, he had said,
Whoever lights the torch of war in Europe can wish for nothing but chaos.
Always and again, the technique of the big lie, a mask of peace on the face of war. Millions of Austrians welcome the Führer to Vienna, the city he had left as a frustrated and bitter young man. Only some 67,000 people have had first to be arrested by Himmler's SS. March the 14th, 1938, Hitler stands on the balcony above the crowd. He tells them,
I believe that it was God's wish to send a youth from here into Germany, to let him grow up and to raise him to be the leader of the nation, so that he could lead back his homeland into the Third Reich.
Neues Glied, die Nationalsozialistische Partei und die Wehrmacht unseres Reiches. Sieg heil!
To thank Mussolini for his support in the seizure of Austria, Hitler now goes to visit his friend, this time for a fully fledged state visit for the artistically minded Führer to admire the antiquities of the ancient Roman Empire. How could such a man, who can find time for such harmless trips abroad, how can he desire more aggression in Europe? A friendly meeting between two accomplices. Little King Victor Emmanuel seems somewhat left out of the picture. Peace, did Hitler say? Next move, Czechoslovakia.
I give my word of honor that Czechoslovakia has nothing to fear from the Third Reich.
But Hitler declares,
it is my unalterable decision to smash Czechoslovakia by military action in the near future.
Britain's Prime Minister, Chamberlain, believes he can save peace. With Daladier, Prime Minister of France, Chamberlain flies to Munich in an attempt to stop war in Czechoslovakia. September the 29th, 1938, 4 men sign an agreement. Hitler gets the Czech Sudetenland and the vital Czech defense lines and heavy industry. The Czechs, whose fate is sealed, are not present. Hitler is given a bloodless victory. At this moment in world history, all men who believed in freedom and justice hung their heads in shame. 6 months later, Hitler breaks the Munich Agreement. His army and the SS march into all Czechoslovakia. She is the first democracy in Europe to become a German slave state. The triumphant Hitler shouts to his secretaries,
this is the greatest day of my life. I shall go down in history as the greatest German.
He has again taken the chance, and again his bluff has come up. Now influential foreign personages pay their respectful homage to the all-conquering Führer. What can they report that Hitler has achieved for the German people? In 7 years, he has got back the Rhineland, torn up the Treaty of Versailles, annexed Austria, occupied Czechoslovakia, made good friends with Mussolini in Italy and Franco in Spain, and found an ally in distant Japan. In the same 7 years at home, he has wiped out unemployment and built up Germany's armed strength without equal in the world. But the German people do not realize that all this has been achieved only by lies, by blackmail, by bluff, and by outright violence and murder. And none of it can last without a war. For the German people, many of them politically immature and lulled into a state of hypnotic worship by the newsreels and mass demonstrations, their beloved leader has everything under the control of his genius and inner instinct. Berlin, April the 20th of this critical year of 1939. The supreme Führer, soon to become the great warlord and military genius, celebrates his 50th birthday. Has he not told the world?
The principal effect of war is to destroy the flower of a nation. Germany needs peace and desires peace.
As the storm clouds gather over Europe, even Mr. Chamberlain is now alarmed. President Roosevelt sends a special message to the two dictators to keep the peace in Europe. To this, Hitler replies without actually answering a single point. We know today that if an understanding could have been reached between East and West, Hitler might not have gone to war. But the British conservatives do not trust the Russians. The Poles will not allow a single Russian soldier to set foot in Poland. Stalin, failing to get an agreement with the Western democracies, now decides to come to terms with his deadly enemy and signs the Soviet-German Pact. So the warlord-to-be gets all he wants, a diplomatic triumph and an almost free hand to launch a new attack. The country, Poland. The date, September the 1st, 1939. He tells his generals,
I shall give a propagandist reason for starting the war, regardless of whether it is plausible or not. The victor will not be asked afterwards whether he told the truth. In starting and waging war, it is not right that matters, but victory.
From now on, the supreme warlord in person is to conduct the strategy of the war. To his commanders, he gives this message.
Close your hearts to pity. Be brutal. 80 million people must obtain what is theirs. Be harsh. The stronger is always right.
So, with calculated and callous brutality, the will of one man starts the most violent and bloody of all wars. Civilians are to suffer as much as armies. Millions of homeless and hungry people will stream along the roads of Europe. From his headquarters in a specially equipped railway coach, the Führer orders an all-out air blitz on Warsaw. The lessons learned in Spain are now put into action.